I'm Ryder, Captain Locke. And whether that's my real name or not, that's for you to decide. The law calls me a wanted criminal. Personally, I think that's an insult. Criminals steal because they're desperate. I built an empire because I'm good at what I do. I run an outfit called the Nightshift Syndicate. And no, you won't find us in any registry, any database, or any official list of licensed organizations. We keep things off the books. Some call us smugglers. Some call us traffickers. Some call us a shadow logistics company. Depends who you ask. We move whatever people pay us to move. Illegal goods, restricted tech, classified hardware, and everything in between. My clients? Corporations, governments, rebel groups, anyone with deep enough pockets and the sense to keep their mouths shut. Now, let's talk about the truth. Not the version Earth broadcasts, not the version Mars screams about. My truth? The truth according to someone who profits from both sides. Tension between Earth and Mars didn't appear overnight. It's been simmering for decades. Trade restrictions, tariffs, technological embargoes, military advisors stationed where they don't belong. You could see the split coming a century ago. The thing is, people keep asking which side I'm on, as if the universe works in red and blue. I'm not pro-Martian. I'm not pro-Earth. I'm pro-Nightshift Syndicate. That's the only flag I fly. But lately, I've started feeling the pressure. Governments are leaning harder. Corporations whispering in dark corners. Everyone wants me to choose a color and bleed for it. Earth today is run by 5 big players. The loud ones are the governments, like the United States of North America, the always, righteous United States of Europe, and the ever, calculating People's Republic of China. But the real muscle, the real power, it sits with the corporations, 2 mega entities that manufacture everything from toilet paper to weapons that can erase a city block from orbit. They don't govern territories. They govern economies. And they're a hell of a lot more dangerous. So when people ask me again whose side I'm taking on this Earth-Mars split, the answer's simple. I take credits. Everything else is somebody else's problem. Anyway, that's enough politics. I've learned one thing over the years. Trouble always finds its way without my help. Tonight's just another run. Quiet space, long route. Cargo sealed like always. The kind of job where the engines hum, the crew keeps to themselves, and I get a few hours of peace in the cockpit. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated. A simple delivery for people who'd rather their names stay off the paperwork. That's the usual shape of my nights. Calm, predictable, almost relaxing, if you ignore the price tags on what's sitting in the hold. So, while the Dusk Runner does her thing, I figured I'd talk for once. Tell you how things really look from my side of the cockpit glass. The only thing I can disclose for now is this. The Dusk Runner is headed toward Mars. And yes, you guessed right, the cargo's for the rebels who want to cut the leash and call themselves independent. Now you might be wondering who the sender is. Who's footing the bill for all this revolutionary spirit? So go on. Guess. Which corporation would pay a smuggler to arm the people Earth tells them not to arm? No shit, Sherlock. You guessed right. It's the same lovely corporation that manufactures half of Earth's anti-orbital defense systems, Aegis Dynamics. They pretend to be loyal to Earth, but they don't mind selling a few crates to the other side if it keeps profits nice and fat. Usually we don't see much danger during the flight. Maybe the occasional competitor trying to overtake my cargo, or a bounty hunter hoping for a big, fat payout for my head. The Dusk Runner may be 40 years old, but the upgrades we've fitted into her put most patrol vessels to shame. Retrofitted weapons, advanced jamming systems, stealth tech that didn't exist when she rolled out from the factory. The kind of gizmos that make bounty hunters regret their life choices. No, the real danger doesn't come in open space. It comes when we approach the destination. In this case, Mars. We're docking at the orbital station, which is still controlled by the United States of North America, the United States of Europe, and partially by the People's Republic of China. We're scheduled to dock in the Chinese sector as humanitarian aid. They don't ask questions as long as your bribes are phrased politely, but there's never a guarantee that the Americans won't decide to block our approach. Just to remind everyone who's still in charge up there, docking went about as smooth as you'd expect, which is to say, barely. The moment our clamps locked in, some officer with a perfect haircut and a data pad shows up asking for additional processing fees. I asked him what had changed since last time. He said, new regulations. Sure, space inflation. He didn't laugh. Most people in his job don't. Look, bribery is the unofficial language of orbital stations. Every sector has its own version of it. Some call it paperwork fees. Some call it express clearance. Some don't bother naming it at all. I don't mind. As long as paying keeps things moving, I consider it the cost of doing business. So I transferred the credits. He pretended not to smile. And just like that, we were cleared to move the cargo planetside. The cargo handoff went like every other shady deal in the system. Quiet, fast, and buried under 6 layers of deniability. The Martians met us on schedule. No names, no small talk, just a sealed container and a pair of quantum entanglement tokens. Here's how it works. Each side carries a linked quantum key. When both keys are in range, their states sync instantly. No network, no signals, no way to forge or intercept it. Once the tokens synchronized, the system confirmed the transfer. And the credits hit Nightshift Syndicate's account before I could even blink. Simple and clean job, exactly the kind I like. So we undocked. The clamps released, the thrusters whispered, and the station drifted away behind us, like a bad memory running out of excuses. For a moment, everything was quiet. Just me, the Dusk Runner, and open space. Then the comms lit up.
Unregistered vessel, Dusk Runner. This is the U.S. patrol frigate Arlington. Cut your engines and prepare for immediate boarding.
Not exactly the goodbye I had in mind. I was about to answer, mostly to tell them to mind their own business, when everything went white. 2 surface-to-orbit defense rockets came roaring out of the Martian atmosphere and turned Arlington into a sunburst. Same model of rockets I delivered to the rebels just a few hours earlier. And that's when everything changed. The Arlington's wreckage was still glowing behind me. When I switched to the encrypted rebel channel, I expected shouting, panicked. But the line opened with a tone you only hear from organized soldiers. A clipped, precise voice answered,
Dusk Runner, transmission received, identify purpose.
Purpose? I just watched one of Earth's patrol ships get turned into confetti, with weapons I just delivered. I wasn't in the mood for protocol. Why did you fire early? I asked. Then another voice came through, calm, measured, disciplined.
We did not authorize a launch.
I almost laughed. 2 missiles just wiped a patrol ship out of orbit, and they denied firing them like they were reading from a checklist.
Our surface batteries remain on standby.
The voice continued.
All munitions accounted for. Someone else launched that strike.
Ryder, because orbital defense rockets fire themselves. You've got to be kidding me. The rebels denied firing the missiles, calmly, professionally, like they'd practiced the line 1,000 times, which meant only one thing. I needed to call the people who actually built the damn rockets. So I switched channels again, this time to the corporate frequency, the one reserved for emergencies, a soft chime.
Captain Locke, this is Adrian Kessler, liaison for Aegis Dynamics. To what do we owe this unexpected contact?
Unexpected. Right. A patrol frigate just turned into a firework behind me, and they sound like I interrupted their lunch.
We are currently monitoring an orbital incident, but our systems show no irregularities in your recent delivery. Your contract is complete.
Complete? That was their word for it.
You were not authorized to remain in the vicinity of the strike.
I wasn't, I said. It happened right as I undocked.
Unfortunate timing.
Unfortunate timing. They talked about an exploding warship like it was a spilled drink.
For your own safety, we recommend you distance yourself from Mars immediately. And Captain, do refrain from contacting us again.
The line clicked dead. Kessler hung up on me with that trademark Aegis Dynamics charm. Smooth voice, dead soul, and the emotional range of a stapler. That's how you know you're dealing with the big leagues. If there's one thing corporations mastered over the centuries, it's pretending to care while already writing your obituary. But here's the funny part. The rebels, they fed me the same story. Aegis, same script. Two factions that would happily strangle each other with oxygen hoses, suddenly singing perfect harmony. If that doesn't scream setup, nothing does. You ever smell a lie so polished it practically winks at you? That was this. A missile strike happens right as I undock, a whole patrol frigate gets turned into confetti, and both sides swear they had nothing to do with it. Please, even children lie with more creativity. So now I'm floating out here, framed for a war crime I didn't even get paid extra for, trying to figure out who fired those missiles. Whoever it was had timing so precise it should be illegal. And knowing this system, it probably is. But laws stopped mattering around the time humanity decided Mars was a great place to argue over. Then my secure channel lit up. Nightshift HQ. Now, when your own people call you in that tone, you know you're either about to get a medal or a heart attack. Spoiler, it wasn't the medal. They'd been watching the asteroid belt. Patrol ships sweeping areas they never cared about before. Thermal scans, movement scans, the whole package. It was like someone spilled blood in the water, and now every shark in the system wanted a sip. And guess whose name kept popping up on bounty channels? Mine. With a lovely little tenfold bonus on my head. 10 times the usual rate just to see me stop breathing. Let me tell you, nothing boosts your self-esteem like realizing you're worth more dead than alive. So I told HQ to shut everything down. Stealth mode, cold reactors, no transmissions unless Mars itself explodes. And even then, only maybe. Told them I'd be back in 3 weeks, assuming I didn't get turned into modern art along the way. They didn't like that. Turns out the hunters were already close. Real close. And hungry. That's when the first one decloaked in front of me. Sleek little interceptor, guns bigger than its brain. You could practically smell the desperation through the vacuum. He opened fire the moment his systems booted. A real professional. I rolled the dusk runner and watched his shots carve the space I was sitting in half a second earlier. Then 2 more hunters popped in like they'd been waiting in line for their turn at the piñata. They all wanted the bounty. They all wanted me. Cute. So the runner and I had a little conversation. She spoke in cannon fire. Real enthusiastic stuff. The kind of sound you feel in your bones and your dental fillings. First hunter popped like a bad capacitor. Second one spun out into nowhere, missing half a ship. Third tried running because survival instincts occasionally visit even bounty hunters. Runner put him out of his misery. After that, things went quiet. You know the kind of quiet that makes you think, ah, great. Now even worse things are coming? Yeah, that one. But what stuck with me wasn't the bounty hunters, or the patrols, or even the explosion. It was the lies. Rebels lied. Aegis lied. Both sides hitting the same talking points like they rehearsed in the same room. And that told me everything I needed to know. Whoever fired those missiles wasn't with the rebels. Wasn't with Aegis. Wasn't with Earth. Wasn't with Mars. Someone else pulled that trigger. Someone outside the board. Someone who wants the whole damn system on fire. And wants me sitting at the center of the bonfire. And the worst part? They're smart. Smarter than all of them. And they're not done yet. The thing about running a smuggling empire is simple. You always think you're prepared for the worst, until the worst shows up wearing Earth military colors, and a smile you can feel through the void. I'd been burning silent toward the HQ asteroid for a week. Stealth mode, jammers humming, transponder off. The Dusk Runner moving slow and ghost-like, the way she was designed to. Funny how you can do everything right and still be late to your own funeral. I dropped out adrift right on schedule, expecting one of my people to ping me. A handshake, a blink, anything. Nothing, just static. Static and an empty patch of darkness where my home should have been blinking like a Christmas tree of illegal activity. So I zoomed in. That's when I saw it. An Earth destroyer. Big, armored, confident. The kind of ship armed to the teeth and proud of it. The UNS Vanguard, and right next to it, my HQ asteroid. My people. My entire syndicate. All sitting there, powerless. The Vanguard didn't even pretend to negotiate. No warning shots, no comms, no surrender your illegal operation speech. Just one long, cold charge-up flash, and an antimatter beam, that carved through rock and iron, like they were made of paper. I watched my base, my home for a decade, break apart like wet sand. One moment I had a family of 140 hardened misfits. The next, just dust. Shockwave hit late. Visual first, sound never. That's the beauty of space. It finds new ways to break you quietly. I didn't scream. Didn't swear. Didn't punch the console. Just stared. The Dusk Runner kept drifting silent as a coffin because stealth mode meant the Vanguard couldn't see me. Or maybe they could and just didn't care anymore. Either way, they vaporized everyone I ever trusted. Everyone who ever trusted me. Nightshift Syndicate died in one shot, and with it, whatever future I thought I had. No HQ, no safe house, no backup, no home, just me and my crew. A system that wants me dead, and a universe that finally made its move. I always wondered how my story would end. Turns out it ends like this. Nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. Just drifting deeper into the void. Until I figure out who did this. And make the void swallow them too. The signal didn't hit us like an alarm. It crept in. Soft. Subtle. Like a pulse hiding underneath the static you get when the ship's long-range array brushes against deep background radiation. At first I thought it was feedback. Old components singing to each other. 40-year-old hulls do that sometimes. The kind of metal heartbeat. But the runner isn't stupid. Neither is the crew. The array flagged it instantly as non-random. A patterned fluctuation buried inside the noise floor. like someone whispering from the other side of the void. I routed it through the spectral filters, the kind we don't talk about. Military-grade stuff we borrowed years ago and conveniently forgot to return. And the moment the filters locked on, the cabin went quiet. That kind of quiet when a room full of people suddenly realize they're not alone in the dark. The signal wasn't strong, but it was deliberate. Pulse intervals too clean for cosmic radiation, too structured for natural anomalies. Someone built this, and they built it a long damn time ago. I expanded the frequency domain, and that's when things got ugly. The signal wasn't using modern compression. It wasn't even using last century's. It was stitched together from pre-expansion encryption frameworks, the kind nations used before the orbital wars centralized everything under the Big Five, except it wasn't any of their signatures. Not Earth's, not Mars's, not Aegis's, not even one of the forgotten micro-factions we occasionally drank with. This one had no owner, no registry, no traceable fingerprint. It was like receiving a message from a ghost that never existed. I ran a temporal decay analysis. If the signal had been bouncing around the void for centuries, it would show degradation patterns, drift, spectral bleed, entropy curve decay. Except it didn't. This wasn't decayed. This was fresh. Fresh enough to feel like someone pressed the send button seconds ago. But the direction it came from, that's what made my stomach drop. The vector didn't point to any colony, station, outpost, or belt fragment. It came from dark space, a dead zone beyond the last mapped gravimetric contour. A region we only describe with 2 words: don't go. I decrypted it anyway. Curiosity kills smugglers too, but at that point, the universe already had a knife at my throat. What's one more? It wasn't a message. Not in the traditional sense. It was coordinates. Just coordinates. Raw spatial data wrapped in obsolete encryption, and one little checksum that shouldn't exist. And because I'm apparently allergic to making good decisions, I ran the coordinates through the nav computer. The plot appeared on the holo. No orbit, no planetary body, no gravitational well, just a point suspended in the middle of the deep, where nothing should be. The kind of place ships go quiet and never make noise again. I didn't say anything. Didn't need to. The crew stood behind me like statues made out of fear and stubbornness. 10 men who followed me through every bad idea, every suicide route, every idiot job that somehow paid off. But this wasn't a job. This was the universe knocking. The coordinates pulsed again, patient, persistent. Like whoever sent them knew exactly where I'd be, and exactly what I'd lost. So here we were, a captain with no syndicate, a crew with no home, and a ship held together with spite and illegal upgrades. And what's behind us? A system that wanted us dead. And ahead of us? A point in the dark, calling our name. In a frequency no one should still know how to use. I thought about turning away, about finding some hole in the belt to die quietly in, about accepting nightfall. But the truth is simple. We've got nowhere else to go. Earth burned our home. Mars doesn't want us. The belt is hunting us. And space is the only thing big enough to hide a dead man walking. So I looked at the holo one last time, at those impossible coordinates, at that silent invitation from something or someone that knew exactly when to speak. Then I powered down the jammers, spun the runner on her axis, and set our trajectory for the void. Because if those coordinates are a trap or a message, fine. If they're a door to something worse than death, we're already halfway there. We made a decision, not out of bravery, not out of hope, but because drifting in circles is just another way of dying slow. So we're following the coordinates. All of us, together. If the void wants us, then we are coming with a bang.